Hello and welcome to my fast guide to getting into endgame content in Guild Wars 2. Today you'll be learning how to choose a build, improve your overall DPS, and the sites you can use to learn more about your class. I'm making this guide as a starting point for those that are new to endgame in Guild Wars 2, but even if you've been around for a little bit, you may still learn something. Let's get started. So starting off, let's look at the sites I use. We've got Snowcrows, Hardstock, Guildgen, and Discretize. Snowcrows is my most common pick, but if you'd like a second opinion, feel free to use Hardstock and Guildgen. Builds may be slightly different. Discretize is a separate site used for fractal parties mostly, but the builds can be used anywhere in PvE. However, as of this video, I cannot vouch for the consistency of the builds there due to the last update being 5 months ago. So with that said, let's go over how you'd make use of these sites. For this example, we'll be using Snowcrows and use a Power Vindicator build, but this will be valid advice for all builds. Here you can see all the details of the build, including the pros and cons of the build. Now it may seem like a lot of information, but simply use what they suggest and learn your class at your own pace. There is, however, a rotation to follow down below if you would like to try and learn it. There is also a copy build template button that lets you paste the build in your own build template. We'll be doing that later. If you would like to see the peak performance of the build, you can look for it in the benchmark section on the site. Vindicator is currently number 10. But remember, this is not consistent and realistic DPS. In a real scenario, you may be doing 40 to 80% of it, depending on your boons, your skills, and the situation you are in. But it can reach it, given the perfect conditions. Also, a quick disclaimer. Currently, some builds are not listed in the benchmark section. That doesn't mean that they're bad. Renegade is currently missing. It was reworked recently, but is performing very well. It's likely that the benchmark is being updated and it'll pop up eventually. Now we have a build and we know the benchmark. We can paste the build in here, in the build template, and it will be automatically applied to you. Next up is food and utility buffs. Use these when you're doing content you're unfamiliar with or need better performance for. The types of buffs you need are different depending on what your specific build is for. I play 3 different types of builds, so I have 3 types of food and utility with me. Power utility, power food. Condition utility, condition food. Heal utility, heal food. In my case, I have 99% crit chance, so I only want power and ferocity. Some buffs can get pretty expensive in the long run, so feel free to look up food on the wiki or find a cheaper option in the trade post, based on your budget. After you've put together all the items listed in the build, there is one final step we can take, but I do not recommend this unless you're very rich, and that is infusions. Each ascended item has infusion slots in them, which is used for agony resistance mainly, but you can also grant the infusions +5 in the stat of your choosing. This can be done for all 18 infusion slots. This gets very, very expensive and requires a lot of ascended items. Prioritize this last if you're even going for it at all. final step is understanding that your DPS is going to be different depending on if you're solo, in a 5-man party, or a 10-man party. Adjust your expectation based on the situation. For example, in my testing, I simulated each scenario by adding boons that would be realistic in each scenario. I hit 21k DPS solo, 35k with max might stacks and quickness, 36 to 45k with a 59k peak with all boons on me and 25 vulnerability stacks on the enemy. There was even a moment that I reached 86k burst DPS, but that is not sustainable in any way and would only last for the first 3 seconds of the fight if done correctly, and then quickly it would go down to 36 to 45k constant DPS. If you would like to try out your own DPS, Lion's Arc has a waypoint right here, and in here there is a training dummy where you can spawn an enemy and change your boons and the debuffs on the enemy itself. I will now be showcasing some clips of me reaching those damage numbers. And that's it for this guide. Now you know all you need in order to participate in max level content in Guild Wars 2. This is the first time I've ever made a video, so leave any criticism in the comments so I can learn and improve. Next video is most likely going to be me going over how to do strikes, or showcasing my daily routine for gaining easy value on my account. Let me know if there's anything specific you'd like me to cover as well. Thank you for watching, and good luck.